It's time for us to see the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. And I have with me this Monday morning to make sense of all of this. I have a public affairs analyst, Dr. John, here in the studio. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Great.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Yeah. And I also have our fellow panelist, Dr. Dayo Kayode here as well. Kayode, good morning. Dayo,
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Very fine.
Mike that likes holding the mic.
You know, we're destined as mics to hold mics. You know, so that's how the thing is. But however, fine. Let's start with the Punch newspaper. Punch says Buni may head APC convention. Uncertainty surrounds zoning. All right. President asks Yobe governor to lead party to national summit. The source is saying this. Adamu may lose out as party throws open chairmanship seat tussle. And Oshibajo to meet state chairman ahead of a presidential bid declaration. Okay. All that on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Now let's go to Blueprint. Blueprint is talking about APC crisis. Court halts party convention indefinitely. March 26th date shaky. Buni still in charge, returns soon. Ruling party arrogant in failure. PDP is wading in here. That's on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. The Nation is next. APC chair. Pressure mounts on Buhari to drop Adamu. Buni returns Wednesday with a nod to take charge. Okay, that's the Nation newspaper. This Nigeria is next. Presidential ticket. APC splits into camps. As court stops convention, aspirants, proxies put pressure on Buhari in London. Okay, that's the APC splits into camps. This Nigeria. Leadership newspaper is next. Amid court order threats, Buni gets PMB's nod to conduct APC convention. Buni gets PMB's nod to conduct APC convention. That is what the leadership newspaper has in there. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. Oshibajo notifies Buhari of presidential ambition. All right, Daily Trust says Oshibajo notifies Buhari of presidential ambition. President not averse to VP's ambition. Tinubu's ambition, RCCG memo put Oshibajo in tight corner. Okay, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust. It's becoming more interesting by the day. Daily Times is next. Federal government initiates plan to restore fuel supply nationwide. Presidency source is saying. This says Buhari committed to avoid future recurrence. That's what Daily Times has. First News. NDLEA arrests Church General Overseer for drug peddling. NDLEA arrests Church General Overseer for drug peddling. All right. But we'll certainly look at this as we get along, because we hear the man of God was on his way to Nairobi for a crusade, and eventually at the airport he was arrested for drug peddling. All right, we'll certainly discuss this. A national economy is next. Russia-Ukraine war threatens fertilizer supply chain, food security in Nigeria. 19.4 million Nigerians face acute food insecurity. All right, that's a Food and Agriculture Organization is saying this. Open food reserves, LCCI tells the federal government. Okay, that's the national economy. Daily Independent is next. Nigeria loses 91.6 billion naira yearly to foreign airlines, multiple points. Okay. From there, let's go to Business AM. Inflation outlook. Tough weeks, months ahead of economy over currency cost pressures. That's what Business AM has. News Direct is next. Mining industry, 2,000 companies, over 2,000 companies owe federal government 2.7 billion naira. Nati is revealing this, right? 2,000 companies owe federal government 2.7 billion naira. Okay, that's News Direct. From there, let's go to Abuja and Kwara. Abuja natives vow mother of all protests. Abuja natives vow mother of all protests, threaten to block entry exit points. All right, this has been on for some time now. Residents of Abuja, or the natives of Abuja, calling for more inclusion in, recognition in different appointments of government and so on. Business Day is the last one we're looking at now. Business Day says 2023 election, Nigeria's digital infrastructure faces biggest test. All right. Nigeria's digital infrastructure faces biggest tests. That's the last one we're looking at now. All right, that's Business Day. All right, gentlemen. Okay, let's look at the first story, first news, and we certainly will be looking at national economy eventually. But let's look at first news. First news says NDLEA arrests a church general overseer for drug peddling. Now, let's leave the church and leave the person yet, but let's look at the issues on ground. This pastor was on his way to Nairobi, Kenya, for a crusade, and then eventually from the airport on his way. So, Doctor, let me start with you on this. A lot of people say, well, these things have been happening, over the years, where, churches or religious organizations, or that are meant to, lead the people, one way or the other, are involved in different kind of shady dealings here and there, because that they don't pay taxes and they are not necessarily investigated in the context of the fact that they are not profit-making agencies. So, but what do you make of this?
Okay, everyone at the end of the day either will behave in a certain way or the other way. We are certainly a product of most of the time of our community. The tap in the bedroom, usually people don't drink from it, not because the water there is different from every other place in the house, but it's simply because of the environment. So sometimes when we expect the community to produce some certain kind of people in the name of either politician, a pastor, or even police, I get surprised, because the community will always reflect itself under every circumstance, Mike, under every circumstance. So what we have seen now is a community that is fighting for survival, and the people are trying to cut corners to just beat poverty. Number one. Number two is when somebody does something and it's not punished, you've given the leeway for another generation to actually want to engage in that exact same thing, which is what has happened over the years. There's presently, permit me to use this my usual phrase, there's presently a general capacity collapse in the Nigerian community. And it's not a subject of whether you are in church or whether you are out of church. I'm a privileged Nigerian who has been in virtually every sector of the economy. I've been in the civil service, I've been in the private sector, I'm involved in church, I've been in politics and all that.
Unionism?
So, yes, I've been in unionism. So I can confidently tell you, Mike, that it's not a subject of where you belong. The Nigerian community we have built over the time, especially in the last 20 years, is a community that supports ill behavior. And once we do not punish people, you can't continue to allow people to commit a crime without punitive measure and expect that your community will be sane overnight. So it's not a subject of whether this person is a pastor. It's a practice that has eaten deep into our system. I got to my mechanic place, then somehow they said they were unable to fix my vehicle. So I had to come back the second day, early in the morning. But there was something, when I wanted to carry something from the vehicle, then I met a young lady, 13, 14. inside the vehicle. I was wondering, what are you doing here? Oh, she said, oh, I came with the guy named Abi. I came with Abi, I'm his friend and all that. And
in your car?
In my car. Of course, Abi is the mechanic. So, yes, early in the morning. So I took the discussion further. What are you doing here? It's too early for you to be at the mechanic workshop. Are you not going to school? What do you do? And all that. So we took the discussion further. Then I confronted her when I saw the way she was looking. That, are you on alcohol? That's what she said no, once in a while. Then I pressed further. Do you take this? I started mentioning the name of substances. So it got to a point, of course, that's also my area. I gave her that freedom. It got to a point, he said, last year when I traveled to, she mentioned the name of the community, and some people were giving me this and that and that. Mike, 13, 14, I lie not. So this is the kind of community that we are in. If you want to test what I'm saying, go under the bridge in Oshodi. You see them in millions that are abusing drugs, and there seems to be no way forward for them.
All right. Now, the point there is the church, as we grew to know it, is meant to be a place where you go to find hope. You go to find forgiveness. You go to find guidance regarding how you should relate with the Almighty, and to be in the best of moral standards when it comes to how we're supposed to live, how we're not supposed to live. Let's just have all of those ideas. But having the church, everybody is supposed to stay far away from anything related to drugs and crimes and all of that. But what we have here is totally the opposite.
Yeah, Mike, I like all you have reiterated. Those are things of the past.
Oh.
What is happening now?
So all things have passed away?
It's different. It's a total different ball game. In those days, permanent secretaries are permanent secretaries. All right? When the government says this, that is what you say. When you go to church, it is for you to be able to do all those things you talk about. You even see pastors these days, they will call for 70 days fasting, and then you see them going behind to eat. Okay? You see them going behind to eat.
That's not the case.
These days, listen now, just wait now. We are reiterating something, we are going somewhere.
Let him land.
Today again, the public bus, like BRT, that is supposed to be safe, is it safe again? Again, all these courier motorcycle, what are they supposed to be carrying? Parcels, cargo, and all that. What do they find in some of them of recent? So what is happening now, what has happened to this overseer, is not out of place. And it is so unfortunate that all these things are happening, but the government and the people, we have never taken our time to see how do we solve this problem. How do we get out of where we are today? And then you now see some other people, when you are telling them, look, let us solve this problem of this country. They will say, this problem is too much, Joe. Where do we start from? Forgetting that 1,000 miles journey starts with a solitary step. Now, look at what we are seeing today. At the end of the day now, you will see that particular overseer getting off the hook. We have seen a lot of overseers, going outside of the norms of the society. There was what that happened in Akure as regards allegedly burying a dead boy or girl on the pulpit. Allegedly though, I don't know how far they have gone with that case with the police. What has happened to such a pastor? So we have seen series of this, but it is so unfortunate that at the end of the day, it is the image of our nation that is being tarnished. Okay.
Well, you want to react to that? Just briefly before we...
Yes, I think it's also very, very important for us to know that in the societal hierarchy of things, you can call it philosophically, the government is more important than the church. The government is more important than any religious practice. In fact, I had said it before that it was in the pursuit of God that man found religion. But in the exercise of man's religion, man missed God. From the very beginning, the intent of God was to have a government. And when you have a government, it represents the interests of God. The essence of government is to do for the people what they cannot do for themselves. That's the same concept of God. Now, if a government fails, then how do you expect every other unit of the community not to fail? So the major, you see, if the government puts in place a law, and everybody knows that when you go against this, this is the penalty, and the government is serious enough to make the penalty, then we'll not be talking about the fault of the church or the little agent of socialization and unit in our community. So it is whatever the government wants the people, how the government wants the people to behave. This morning, Mike, let me quickly add this. I was reading about how to change an entire generation, and I discovered that it even starts with the kind of curriculum that they get exposed to. So if you want to build a total Nigeria, it's the duty of the government. You start with the kind of things you want them to know right from school before you can partner all these agents. There's a general capacity collapse, not only because our people are behaving badly, but because the government has not totally understood its role, and especially in dealing with bad behaviors like this.
All right. After God is the government.
Is the government,
like a lot of people would say. So,
and then the family.
Yeah, of course. But it's just like the complementary, assisting bodies here and there. The government, religion, courts, and all of that assist. But the point there is, after God is the government. If government works the way it's supposed to be, some of our prayer points
will be unnecessary.
Will be highly unnecessary.
All right, Daily Independent, just in one minute, says that Nigeria loses 91.6 billion naira yearly to foreign airlines, multiple points. Now, this calls to the issues of many of our airlines. We understand there is an alliance of some of them recently. I'm coming to you on this one. A lot of them came together, which some persons really commended as a way of building capacity and pulling resources together to keep up standards in the industry. What do you make of this, though?
But the issue is it that they decide to come together to improve on capacity, to increase capacity, or in the issue of increase in price?
No, that's totally different.
About increase in price.
No, it's not about the price. The Spring Alliance, they called it the Spring Alliance, which they came together as a way of ensuring that when 2, 3, 4, I think there are about five airlines coming together saying that if my aircrafts are not enough on this route going to Abuja from Lagos, for instance, and we have some passengers on ground, and your airline has some empty spaces,
a kind of a Star Alliance,
like Star Alliance. Yes, we can conveniently, move these customers into this so that our passengers don't get stranded. So that's the arrangement.
Yeah, it is good because even this arrangement we are still talking about is still within the Nigerian airspace. But when we now look at the external foreign airlines, because this one now is talking about to foreign airlines. In those days, we used to have Nigerian Airways flying all over the world. How many aircrafts were we having there? Do we still have them now? Even the BASA agreement, to what extent has Nigeria been able to fulfill its area within that agreement? The same thing with ocean liners. The same thing with Ocean Island. But it is a pity that, most of these infrastructures that Nigeria is supposed to have kept together, like he said sometimes ago, we have allowed our leadership grid to break down our national grid. Now, imagine if we were still having all those Boeing 747 of those days, if we were still having all those Airbuses of those days, if we were still having all those aircraft of Nigerian Airways of those days, we will be losing all this. You will see Nigerian Airways carrying Nigerian passengers, and then all this capital flight will not be happening. It's so unfortunate. Look, about a year or 2 years ago, the Minister of Aviation, Idris Rika, wanted to launch back Air Nigeria without even having anything on ground. You see, went to UK to go and long that thing.
All
Where
right.
is
But
that aircraft now?
we understand it's coming back now very soon. I think in about a month or so from what we hear. But we're watching to see how it plays out. Just 1 second.
Yes, the satanic agenda that brought Nigeria to its economic situation now is to have sold to the people that government does not have business in business. It is satanic because the idea is not just for government to be dragging in competition. It's for government to engage in services that will provide standard within each and every sector. But we came up with the idea that anything government will never work. Let's privatize, it will work.
Okay.
And up to today, we are still on the prayer point.
Yes.
God will help us.
All right, yes,
God will help us.
no, that's where we leave it. God, sometimes even our security, we leave it in God's hands. Economy, we leave it in God's hands. Politics, we leave it in God's hands.
Even
everything.
our bath,
Everything, we leave it in God's hands. God is the ultimate. You know how it is. All right, thank you so much, Dr. John, for coming on the program this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Dayo Kayode, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.